All right, it's Paloma time. This is hands down our most popular cocktail.
100%.
Yeah. Since we started this business, Palomas were, I'm a huge grapefruit fan, love fresh fruits. Since we started, Palomas were kind of one of our staple recipes. And
yes.
One we incorporated early on in the beginning, and it has just, year after year, 2019, 2020, and 2021, it is without a doubt our most consistent and popular cocktail.
I would love to know how many Rosemary Palomas we've served.
Oh, thousands. Thousands.
So many Rosemary Honey Palomas. We do adapt the typical Paloma doesn't have a honey simple syrup and doesn't necessarily have rosemary in it, but we found that the three together, it just, the flavors infuse together so well. So we're so excited for you to try this one.
Yes, it's really, really good. Because it has that rosemary, it almost can be a year-round type cocktail. It almost gives it, this is rosemary right here if you're unfamiliar, it does almost have like a holiday kind of look to it, which you wouldn't think unless it was the holidays. So we like to use it all year round. Yeah. It's a really great one to make in like a batch if you were doing something that you had a big group or something and you didn't want to be tending to the bar the whole time. It's a really great batch cocktail too, so we can talk more about that as we get into it.
That smells so good.
It does.
Pick up that rosemary, it smells so
good. I know.
All year round too. Rosemary is just a staple. Yeah. So let's teach you a little bit about this. Paloma does mean dove in Spanish, and it actually is, despite kind of believing that margaritas are the number one, a Paloma is the number one most popular cocktail in Mexico.
Yeah, and it's only recently gaining popularity in the U.S. You don't even see it in a lot of restaurants quite yet. I'm seeing more and more kind of as it grows in popularity. But grapefruit is a little bit underrated, I think. I love grapefruit and people don't use it enough. So I'm really, this is probably the most popular cocktail using grapefruit. So
yeah, for sure. It is a cousin to the marg, so we still have the lime, we've still got the tequila and the simple syrup there, but it is that grapefruit which is the defining ingredient here.
It is. Yeah. All right, let's get a Paloma in your hand. We're going to start with this one. This is just a build over ice cocktail. Don't have to muddle, really straightforward. We're just going to fill our glass to the top with ice. There we go.
Per usual, once we've got ice in there, we are going to start with our most expensive ingredient, our liquor. We are using tequila, our typical cocktail pour, 1.5 ounces. So just this full shot glass. There we go. Next, we're going to add our honey simple syrup. Now, what really makes this a rosemary honey paloma is that we have infused this simple syrup with rosemary. You'll find in our tutorial on honey simple syrup the recipe for that, but it really is just throwing fresh rosemary into your mix and just letting it sit. The longer it sits there, the stronger that flavor is going to be, and I promise you that rosemary is going to come through.
So some of our repeat clients who have hired us for many cocktail classes and who have made this for cocktail classes, they actually make one batch a month and freeze half of it, store the other half in the fridge. It stores really well for about 2 weeks in the fridge in like an airtight container, but you can always freeze it. But we have one client who does this once a month, and so she has it every single day in her coffee, her tea, and any cocktail she makes.
Yeah.
It's not just great in this, it's great really in any cocktail. You can make a rosemary marg. You can even turn an old fashioned into a rosemary old fashioned.
That's great.
And there's tons and tons of options for this one. It's not an overpowering flavor. It's really, really, really delicious. So
delicious. I did about 1 ounce of that in here. As usual, if you've got a sweet tooth, up that a little bit, but know that you can always add more at the end. So we say start with about 1 ounce with this, and then go from there. I have 1.5 ounces of tequila there, and 1 ounce of rosemary honey simple syrup. Next, we're going to add our citrus. This is a dual citrus cocktail. We've still got that lime, and we're adding the grapefruit, so we're just going to have both in here. I'll start with the lime.
All you need is half a lime in this one. It doesn't need to be as lime forward as a marg would be. You're just going to do half of a lime. In grapefruit, you're going to use about half of a grapefruit. Like we always say, citrus can be finicky. So you eyeball it. This is your cocktail. You're learning to be a mixologist. You play it by ear.
If you're trying to make a batch, Trader Joe's, so no surprise, has a phenomenal fresh grapefruit juice available in their refrigerated section. And so we obviously, when we're building a batch cocktail, we can't be squeezing all of these in for events of hundreds of people. So we get that fresh juice, and it's gorgeous. It actually, I will say, the color in that concentrated juice is it's more. Yeah, we'll add more. It is got more of that ruby red color. Here it's going to be pretty subtle since we're using fresh. Either way, it's gorgeous.
Just a note on buying juices. Now, we've recommended using juices in the Paloma lecture and in some of the other ones, in the mojito class. We noted buying some juices to add. We always recommend look for ones that are no sugar added, just because it kind of takes away from the flavor. That's not when it has sugar added. It's not actually just the juice in its pure form. So all of our cocktail recipes are built for juice in their freshest form. So you might have to, if that's all you can find is like a cranberry juice or a grapefruit juice that has sugar added, that is fine to use. Just know that you'll probably have to adjust the recipe for that simple syrup and all of that. So
totally. We are going to top with our grapefruit soda here. Again, Trader Joe's has got great options. We love that there's a grapefruit flavor to just accentuate that flavor throughout this cocktail. Per usual, if you've only got a regular club soda or even a lime, totally fine for this cocktail. And we're just going to pour to the top. Look how pretty it is. We'll get that a good stir so that it's not just all bubbles when you take your first sip. We'll get everything in there. Make sure the liquor is not sitting on the bottom. Oh.
Yeah, just like all cocktails, when you're working with fresh ingredients, there is a little bit of settling that happens naturally, even as you're sipping the drink. Don't be alarmed by that. Just give it a stir. That's how you know you're working with fresh stuff.
Totally. It was going to get full there. I'm going to just kind of put this wheel or this wedge just into the side of the glass. Garnish however you'd like. You could do a little slice and just put it on the edge. We like to kind of throw that in there. And then a rosemary sprig to garnish. I mean, it's just so pretty. We said, it's like all seasons. I mean, that's a summer drink, and then that's also beautiful in the winter.
It is.
So feel free to serve this all year round. We promise it's going to be a hit. If you're trying to drink tequila in the winter, this is probably the way to do it.
Oh, I totally agree. If you are making this as a batch, you're just gonna, there's no real, every batch is a different size, so it's so hard to give actual measurements, but it'll be a similar thing. You're gonna probably do about equal parts of the tequila and the simple syrup. You're gonna do, a big chunk of it is gonna be the grapefruit juice and add a dash of lime in there, and you just taste it along the way, and you'll get your batch.
Yeah,
so.
Absolutely. Try this at home. We can guarantee you're not going to be disappointed by this one. Yeah. We always say, we believe our Paloma can turn grapefruit. I guess anyone who's neutral or negative about grapefruit, this can change your mind.
Yeah.
Well, as usual, cheers.
Cheers.